Alrighty, Jared Randall here with a news from not so far north energy update, more of an energy reading, I should say, for we've just entered Gemini season. We've gone through Cancer season. The sun is now in the sign of Gemini, so moving from water to air energy, and the Gemini energy has been coming up a lot so far this year. It's especially maybe a month and a half ago, it was coming up a lot, having to do with different things the moon was doing, and just different points of emphases. Different energies were being emphasized, and now this reading is about tuning in to specifically ancestor energy, right? So star ancestry, guides, ancestors of maybe more earthly origin, in terms of our own connections, right, to those ancestors, our own family, departed loved ones, friends, so on. Almost, I think of this as a kind of like a personal pantheon of, those who've passed on that who are still with you in some way. You feel their energy sometimes. Their energy is stuck with you, and so on. There's a bit of that going on. And then not so much with this energy. If so, it's more because I use runes of a Norse origin and witch runes as well. And, these runes have to do more with, gods and goddesses, so deities. And this, I would actually kind of equate these energies in some ways, especially in their most cardinal form, if you will, their most kind of pristine or originary form, like an energy that's been vibrating for a long time, from before, Earth even. Energies coming in from other stars where there were other beings, and so on. So for me, Freya is one of these. Freya is so ancient. The energy is so ancient. And she's so, I associate her more as kind of a power, an angelic kind of energy that just vibrates at this frequency, because that's what she does. That's what she is. That's why she's still with us, because this energy is with us and driving a lot of things. So with that, so I'm going to pull first some witch runes, and I never know exactly what I'm going to talk about with these readings, but okay, so one thing, that's why all that mattered. So one thing that's been coming in, and that I thought I was going to talk about yesterday, but really has come in for talking about today, is just the support that we have in terms of folks who've passed on. And some of these are folks from our own family, friends, and so on. But what's come through for me for over a decade now, really, and really this started with the passing on of Robin Williams, who was just been an important person for me, like looking to someone who's creative, looking to someone who just really did their own thing and did so many different kinds of things. And by pretty much any tale I heard tell from people who knew him, and he was an amazing person, and had a very tough time at the end. But there's this sense of he's not gone. He's not been gone. And in fact, there's a sense of folks leaving this life in order to, and I sort of trigger warning here, because I don't, I know this can be touchy for folks, especially if you've lost particular people, or, I mean, if somehow somebody related to Robin Williams is listening to this, which I'm not a big channel, so probably not. I wouldn't want to trigger that person, right? But there's this sense of him having gone because he can do more good from where he's at now. His energy is set free in some way to do bigger and better things, though more behind the scenes. And that's actually really amazing and empowering. And there's a lot of that energy. There's a lot of folks. I have sort of a personal pantheon of, and this came up yesterday in the car with some family and driving to the beach, and another one, Tom Petty, that came up, and he's in my sort of personal pantheon of like people who've passed on, who in some way they did something in the world. I didn't know them personally in the world, but they had an effect, right? There's a sense kind of almost of we've lost a lot of the good ones, and that the message is, Carrie Fisher's another one. I'm just on a roll here. There's the message is, no, they're with us still. The energies that was their lives and the people they touched is all still here, and that's how they connect. And this is really how deity energy starts and how it continues, is people who've had a big effect on lots of different people. And the legend is born, so to speak, and in some way that energy continues on, and the names change of how we remember them even as generations go by, but that energy is somehow here, right? And in some way these folks were originary in that exact frequency, that exact tuning of the energy. So a lot of empowerment coming through in that way. And so I encourage you to have your own sort of personal pantheon, if you will, your own personal, you can think of this, the Roman custom of house gods, right? Like you might worship or revere, whatever word you want. Worship just means to give worth to something or someone, and there's nothing wrong with giving worth to anything, as long as you're not overdoing it. So, that undercuts the whole, you can only worship God, blah, 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 blah. We're saying something's worthy when we worship, right? Or revere. That's all this is, and it's healthy to do this. It's not unhealthy, it's healthy. It's impoverished to not do this in some way. You don't have to light candles and do mystical things. This can be having a journal where you write letters to people who've passed on, or writing down messages you feel like you're getting from those folks as those messages come in. It can be all kinds of things, whatever you're led to do. There's no right or wrong. There's no particular practice. Again, very anti-religion in terms of like, you have to do it this way, and these are the formulas, and these are the words to say, and yada yada. That's not it. It's always better if it's coming from you. You're always connecting directly if it's from you. All right, so enough preaching. I could go on and on and on. So this is going to be witch runes, and I'm going to pull 3 runes. And I just realized today I pull 3 runes often, but this particular rune pull has always felt different to me, and I realized it's for the first, second, third decan of the sun moving through the lunar house. So the moon in Gemini, and one place I'm really poor on. I'm not a trained astrologist. I've learned a lot, but one of the things I'm really weak on is the houses and exactly which house is what, and I have to look those up, and I haven't looked up Gemini on that regard. So anyway, I'll be pulling 3. So first decan of Gemini. So kind of like the first third, if you will, of the sun's transit through Gemini, and has been coming up a lot lately. the masculine energy. So again, as I always have to say, this does not mean man. This does not mean biologically male. This is the masculine directed energy in terms of the polarity at the bottom of existence. If there was no polarity, we wouldn't be here. Things have to move. In order for things to move, something vacates or receives or whatever, exists in some kind of a void or vacuum form, or a space that's made, or what have you, a cradle, if you will. The feminine energy receives the masculine energy, but this is so that the energy can move. This is not about one being better than the other, etc., etc., etc. So this is directive energy. So right now there's energy in terms of ancestry, in terms of guides, in terms of empowerment from the above and the below, which is a whole nother thing, and I have gone into it, and I'm sure I'll go into it again. I won't go into it now. Exactly what do we mean when we say above and below? That's we use a term all the time, and we don't often understand it. At least there's a lot of fullness there that we can plumb the depths of, but not right now. Masculine energy, directive energy. So this first third or so of the Gemini season, this is what we're looking at. Being directive, doing the things we know to do, relying on our knowledge, relying on what our convictions, relying on those things, right? Like not questioning, acting off of them. Think of this almost like, it's like a rocket ship taking off or an arrow in flight, right? It has an origin point. It knows its origin point, just in terms of trajectory. Like think of physics here, right? When you shoot an arrow, if you know what you're doing, you can trace that arrow back from its landing point based on its trajectory to where it was shot from. Now, I don't know how to do that, but somebody does. It's the same kind of thing. And so trust the origin point. Sagittarian energy here, which I have Sagittarius. It's my rising sign, and so it's an important energy for me. So yeah, this is air and fire is coming through right now. Acting on what you know, letting the fire come down, and shooting your shot. Do it. If you're about to apply to a job, or you're starting something new, or thinking of changing how you're doing something, or whatever the ideas are, go for it. Do it. There's empowerment, there's enabling, there's energy for that. All right. A second rune. Okay, this one wants to come out. I knew it before I turned it over. I almost said this is going to be the moon. You don't have to believe that, but I did. I knew this was the moon. So lunar energy, second decan and second third of Gemini season. Expect some mystery here, and this is very interesting. I've been getting the idea of a cooling off period here, sort of late July. So then it seems like maybe as we move into August, we're going to enter another period of kind of, a lot of things have been happening on the world stage, I think, and even though some big things are still happening, it feels a bit of like a cooling off period. Just a little one, not a big one, but a little one. And then we're going to keep talking about this. We're coming up to Lion's Gate, which is the August 8th portal. August 8th isn't as important as the rising of Sirius over the horizon, which is, in my knowing, is the galactic New Year. Somehow, I don't even know how I know that. That's just what I know of it. And this goes back to ancient Egypt. They were very aware of that moment in time, and the whole pyramid structures are very connected to it. So anyway, yeah. Moving then from that air and fire directed energy to water energy. We've had a lot of water energy in the past few days. Also a lot of earth energy. I feel like it's been kind of moving between the two a lot. This is some water energy, some mystery. Okay, also a sense of new beginnings, that maybe not beginnings, new results from things we're already doing, perhaps related to this trusting of self to go ahead and do. And so there's something as we do that, and to the extent that we do that, there's some mystery here. And I don't get any sense of like impending doom. This is a very personal, again, this is empowerment. This is a positive note. Okay. Let's take the last rune. Probably. Occasionally more than that comes out. Almost did. But no. I didn't have an intuitive hit on this one. But I'm also not surprised, because this energy is coming up of late. Flight. Flight, more air energy. I'm just getting though that with flight, it's earth air energy, which might feel counterintuitive. I mean, there is earth air energy, air earth energy in the tarot, but I think there are certain combinations of energy I think we skip over sometimes, and this is one of them. Why is it earth air energy? Well, this isn't the wind, this is flight. This is birds flying. This is a kite flying. This is an airplane flying. This is, again, kind of like shooting a rocket into space. This is grounded air energy. Grounded flight. Something's flying, and it's something physical, something structural, something that, hey, it could even be relationship, right? Relationships, I think we often think are not earth energy, but they so much are. I think we get confused sometimes. We think relationship energy is always water energy or air energy, or if we're angry, it's fire energy. And this is all just very kind of vulgar understandings of the energies, okay? There's relational fire energy, there's relational water energy, there's relational air energy, there's relational earth energy. This is earth energy, that's air energy, but it just because of that sense of flight and birds and flying together, and getting like a picture of, birds amassing up to, make their seasonal migrations, for instance. There's a sense of coming together here. There's a sense of new structures coming to place, but in movement, within an action, within a sort of feeling of a squadron, if you will, of things flying together. So, yeah. And that was all just okay. Yeah, we're channeling. It's good. We're channeling. Sometimes that's how it goes, because that's how this works. So here we have the Futhark runes, Norse origin, right, and perhaps older, almost definitely older, in a circle. And so there's a whole kind of story that the runes tell, and of course it's and kind of like an alphabet as well as each one is its own symbol. And then I have a bag of more of these runes, so I'll be pulling some number of them. And before I do, I've had a crystal with intention. Again, this is more of an instructive part of the reading, okay? What are the ancestors saying to us? What would they, if we were drinking tea or coffee, right, with old granny, old auntie, old gramps, old uncle, etc., right? What would they be saying to us? So I don't know how many runes I'm going to take here. Okay, that's a lot. ish, which is going to make this reading interesting. I haven't been reading the Futhark as much lately. I've just been getting back into it in the past couple of weeks. I just drop the runes and we see if they come in right side up, upside down, and we read. We read the energies based on where they fall, what they're pointing to. I just get intuitive hits. All right, we have one upright rune. I generally tend to read clockwise, starting from the top. The Fehu, which is wealth, received wealth. Not received wealth. It's earned wealth, right? It's I did this. I made this, and it's also a sense of I made this because I could, because I'm powerful. So there's a sense of, with that, in that line, I'm gonna take that line and run with it, because that's as I said it, that felt really important. Things getting knocked over right now. And again, this is somewhat a reading connected to global energies, okay? And because our own personal ancestors are keenly interested in us personally, but they have a view of us from above and below that is larger, right? From below, they can see our connection to past energies that have maybe departed from the world, right? That are literally buried in the ground and so on, or passed away into history books, or burned up in the Library of Alexandria, or, whatever, lost to time having to do with the pyramids, and we don't really know things about it, right? But that stuff's still down there, okay? And it can come back in new forms, though. It's not that there's so much worry about, we need to figure out what was going on in Egypt, right? And it's fine to do that, but we need to understand that it doesn't matter. We can figure it out almost exactly, but if we don't translate it into a new form for our own time, it can be a shackle more than help. So we don't need it to happen that way, right? We can start just pulling in these energies, and so there's this energy of clearing and this energy of abundance gift coming in from the ancestors, and it's being projected through this Iwaz, and this came up in a reading last week that I did for someone at their property, and a friend of mine, and this is you energy, this is you tree energy, this is the you has its roots below, deep in the ground, and it stretches up above. I like to say that human beings are trees. Our roots stretch down into the earth, into the ground, and that is our human ancestry. All the stuff behind us that has, literally, this isn't so mystical. This is matter and energy, literally the stuff we're made of. It sticks around and it gets reused. And we are that. We are recycled. We are recycled matter and energy. It's whatever we're recycled out of, it's in us, and it has some effect, even if minuscule and minute, but altogether it's big, it's powerful. Well, that yew tree also stretches up above into the sky. And so in that sense, the tree's branches and boughs are also roots. They're roots of receiving. They receive the sunlight. They receive the cosmic rays from above, from outside, and they bring that in. That also is the energy. This is all fire energy. This is all wand energy that is then moves through the tree, through the yew tree, and that is coming out here. Maybe it's going both ways, actually. And now I'm seeing that it's like a polarity. There's like a ding, 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 ding. And it's a little bit closer to this down below, perhaps, and little less close to up above. And I wonder if there's a message there. We'll see what these other runes are doing.